Today on Jeep News, we talk about the future of electrification across the Stellantis brand, an interesting recall that Ryan has to go through with his 24 Wrangler, as well as the fact that I've never seen discounts this deep on the Jeep Gladiator. Find out all this and more today on Dirt Road CRED. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're talking all sorts of content with Jeep News here. The first thing that I wanted to bring up is kind of an ironic thing that Ryan actually is going through. One of the recalls we discussed a few months ago. He's been having some intermittent issues with the actual cluster in his 2024 Jeep Wrangler, and specifically that center area where it actually has been saying service four-wheel drive, and some other things have been illuminating that really shouldn't be on there. He pulled into our local dealership and they said, yep, your VIN popped up and you are actually going to be getting a replacement cluster. Now, it's been a little bit of an interesting ordeal or debacle because you actually have to go in, read the mileage, track the mileage, post it all over the place, and then they can order you the parts. So the thing about this is that the recall only affected the smaller screens. So if you have the full digital 7-inch, it wasn't for that, but for the smaller kind of no color in them screens. And when Ryan would go into 4 high, it actually wasn't indicating on the dash that it was in 4 high or actually having anything pop up, but it just said service four-wheel drive, and some of the other lights weren't working. So a really interesting recall. Once he took it in, they popped the VIN and it was relevant to his Jeep. They just have to order in a new cluster and kind of see what the solution looks like. I was almost hoping they would upgrade you to a 7-inch. That would be really cool, but we'll see. We'll keep you guys updated on that. The next thing that we're talking about today is going to be part of the electrification side. So first, a little bit of tidbit. The 41 4xe that we actually just checked out in person the other day, they are available, and I know we dropped that video as just a walk around. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, it's a pretty cool Jeep to actually see in person. However, the biggest comment was about the fact that they would have bought it without the 4xe. So for you guys, I hope that they eventually release that into a regular Wrangler, and if you don't like it, well, just watch our 41 build because that's the way that we're doing it, and I think it's kind of the perfect way. Secondly, the Jeep Recon is set to begin production a lot earlier than we thought. There's actually a couple posts and forum members that were saying it's set to be produced in February instead of Q3. So they are really upping the production of that, starting a full electric vehicle, and maybe that's going to be set to replace the 4xe or maybe give it some big competition, because I think having a 4xe Wrangler next to a Recon and you just want to be able to take the doors off, the Recon's all electric and is going to still give you that ability. But we'll have to wait and see, because it is something that we're at least interested in going to check out and maybe take it around with the doors off and see how it performs. And in addition to that, there was another article that was released that is talking about the Ram 1500 EV, the one that was supposed to be completely electric, is now being delayed to 2026. So that's a full year later than when it was set to debut to the public. And in my eyes, it's not Jeep news, but it is more Stellantis news, and it kind of has me thinking maybe they're focusing on a different battery style, which has been rumored a lot in previous articles. Maybe they're focusing more on gasoline engines because the Durango is just reintroduced again with the Hellcat to be released. And what do you guys think about that? I do think that there's a little bit of a shift in the market here, and I think they're pushing off some of these vehicles to maybe introduce like the Recon, put the batteries into that vehicle, and then they're pushing some of these off further and further into the wayside. A lot of interesting stuff, and definitely a lot of moving pieces right now with Stellantis as a whole. And then lastly, what we wanted to get into a little bit here is the fact that there still is no Gladiator 4xe. That was something that was actually released back last year, late summer, early fall, on LinkedIn, that the Gladiator 4xe was coming. They have to change the factory, they have to change the assembly lines, and we just have nothing happening. I know the unions have been really hurting out there in Toledo and Detroit to actually keep the production lines running, just because these vehicles are not selling. So we'll have to wait and see, is the Gladiator 4xe going to become a reality, or is it just one of those things that might fall to the wayside? And now let's get into the title of this video and do some fact checking. Pretty recently, we've been getting a lot of emails, a lot of YouTube comments, Facebook comments, and Instagram, and even some other YouTubers are talking about the fact that the Jeep Gladiator has now started to become close to 30 or 35% off of MSRP. And I know that's a pretty decent chunk to have a discount like that. And before we just go and post a video without doing some fact checking, or just look at one random dealership that has these discounted like this, we need to be able to make a kind of big analytical assumption that this is pretty much across the board and have some facts to back it up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pull the iPad over and we're going to do some searching on the internet to verify the fact that these Jeeps are getting pretty crazy discounted. Well, we've got the iPad out and it is time to start doing some fact checking to this. A little bit of a precursor. I already did fact check this before we have the title come up. And a lot of times you can search online for vehicles and you might see one outlier or a group or a bunching of outliers that just have crazy discounted prices. This can be attributed to shady dealers that just post them really cheap and then don't give you that price, to an internet error where they're posting too low of a price for that vehicle, or just maybe somebody screwed up on the internet side and posted them up. Now, what we're going to be looking at first is Dan Cummins Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. That is obviously our dealership affiliate that we work with. We're going to check out some of the Gladiators that they have for sale. So right away, I'm just filtering it to new 2024 Jeep Gladiators. And on the other two tabs, when we're looking at some nationwide kind of automotive vehicles for sale, we're going to search it by Rubicons and Mojaves to just make it a little bit more of those deeper discounts. But right away, one of these that I have pulled up and one that I've been looking at as an example is a 2024 Jeep Gladiator Rubicon Crew Cab. Now, they listed as Crew Cab, of course, but the MSRP of this Jeep is $60,130 and the selling price is $42,032. So I've actually taken a chance, do some quick math here on the phone to divide that, and $42,000 and $32 is 0.699. So that is just under 70% of the original value, aka 30% off. Now on this Jeep, there is a national standalone 20% off below MSRP deal, and then Dan Cummins is actually giving another $6,000 off. You're getting $18,000 off this Gladiator. The hardest part for me is right next to it, there's a Gladiator Sport that's $41,443. So $600 more and you can have a Rubicon. Some of the deals on the Sports, when you look at them right next to a Rubicon or a Mojave, for all of the features that you're gonna get, don't look as good. And I think that's gonna be one tricky part. I'm scrolling down here, so it's common across the board. So the Rubicon here, actually it looks like the Rubicon has the 20% off MSRP. The Willys and the Gladiator Sports only have a 15%. So that's a bit interesting, Ryan. The higher the trim, they're giving a deeper discount. So, but as I scroll down through, let's maybe go to, we're going to roll down through and look at like maybe an X or something like that. All right, there looks like an X right there. Gladiator Rubicon X, MSRP $69,635. So we'll take the selling price $48,188, divide it by $69,635, and we are getting 0.69. So 30% off once again with the Dan Cummins deal. You're getting a Rubicon X, power seats, heated seats, color matched fenders, color matched roof, steel winch bumper on the front without the winch, of course, for 30% off. Starting to look like a pretty dang good deal. I know, this is a little caveat, back in 2021, I paid $52,000 for my Rubicon Gladiator. So, and that was just a Rubicon color match fenders with a hard top, didn't have the steel bumper, didn't have power seats, didn't have wireless Uconnect, and I paid $3,000 or $4,000 more than that. So these deals are now going less than when the Gladiator came out with the Rubicon. That's pretty impressive. Now, I know we're looking at just Dan Cummins here. Let's open up the spectrum. What do you say, Ryan? We open it up and we look at cars.com. Cars.com is really interesting because as I go over to them, they've of course got some even crazier deals on there, but you can also see how long the vehicle has per se been sitting on the lot. So one that keeps popping up is this dealer in Houston, Texas. They've got the cheapest prices listed, but they've also got a 2.2 star review with 115 reviews. You guys got to take into account that some of these dealers will not honor these prices and they're just to get you in the door. But the cheapest one here at $37,761, we're going to calculate that and see what the discount looks like. And it's got to be like 32%. Wow, it's 36% off. 64%. At this one, it is a white Gladiator Rubicon, $37,761 selling price, MSRP of $58,900. So 36% off this Jeep. Now, will they honor that price? There's a bunch of them listed out here at that exact price. And then as I scroll down through, I'm looking at dealers in Orlando, Raleigh, North Carolina. There's more in Florida there, Sacramento, California. So as you scroll down here, normally you would kind of find some of these as anomalies, right? You see these crazy cheap Jeeps and you don't really see too many more of them. You see maybe 2 or 3, maybe a 10 if you're lucky when you search the entire country. But as I scroll down through here, I can look at pages and pages and pages worth of Jeeps that pretty much on average, you're looking at $40,000 to $42,000 and they're down from close to 60 MSRP. So this is not just one specific dealer, one specific area. It is pretty much across the entire country. And in fact, I was scrolling down through here to see how cheap I could find a Rubicon X. And as I scroll down through, it's probably gonna be hard to find because all of them are that cheap. But I actually found a Rubicon X for $45,000, down from $69,000. So a very, very crazy deal on that. And then one thing I wanted to bring up with you guys is we're kind of looking at these prices, as we're looking at what Jeep's got going on with the Gladiator. Are these prices low enough for you to take the plunge and pick one of these up? Is this enough of a deal for you to say, hey, the Gladiator is starting to look more appealing than the Wrangler just because of some of these deals that are coming out? I want to open that up to you guys because I actually just had a call from a good friend, Ray, all the way up north, and he said, we're actually looking at these now because of the prices being that low. So we want to hear some feedback from you. Are these cheap enough to make you start looking at a Gladiator Rubicon now that it's a 24 or even a standard Gladiator? Is it a low enough price? The one thing I wanted to talk about too is just how long some of these Jeeps have actually been sitting on lots. Now I pulled up one here in Florida, and the cool thing about cars.com is you can actually go down through and see how long it's been sitting. If you've ever worked at a dealership in sales, the biggest thing that they fear is having a car or a vehicle have a birthday. And what a birthday means is that it's been sitting on the lot for a full year or more. Now, some of these I'm sure have been sitting on the lot for a full year or more, but this one has been sitting on the lot for 328 days. It's about to hit its birthday, and it shows that it was first listed on February 23rd at a whopping $63,250. It has undergone $23,000 in a total price reduction, and as you look at this, we can pull this in the middle of the screen, you can see how many times it's minus $4,000, plus 100, minus 3, minus, like it just keeps deducting until we get to the price listed as of maybe a week ago, $39,000. So it has dropped from 63, give or take some change, to 39 and some change. That's a pretty significant drop, and I'm sure these dealerships are trying to get these off the lot because they're paying interest to have them there. And then not only that, Jeeps that sit on lots, it's never a good thing. Tires start to dry rot, batteries start to die, they absorb all of the impacts of the weather, paint fading, clear coats getting damaged. It's not fun to have them sitting on the lot. But that's enough about Gladiators. Let's maybe jump over and see if there's anything on the Wrangler side. On Auto Trader here, I'm going to pull it up and just kind of look at some. I always search the whole country, and we're just starting on some two-door Rubicons. Let's see what the cheapest is. So we got some across the country, some two-door Rubicons. Here's one. That's a pretty decent discount. Let's calculate that out, and then we'll see if that's around the area that all of them are. But this one here is actually $58,000 MSRP. Selling price is $43,000. So we'll take $43,793 divided by $58,893. About 74%. So we're at 74%. That Jeep's 25% off, and it is $15,000 off. There's a couple more two-doors as we scroll down through here. 53 MSRP down to 44, 56 down to 44, 55 down to 45, about $10,000 off. Seems like the deepest discount you're getting on that is $8,000 to $10,000 off. Heck, here's even a 2025 Jeep Wrangler Rubicon in 41. That's discounted from 52 to 44. So they're coming down. It's about, I would say, 20 to 25% off of those that we're seeing across the board, but nothing as crazy as I would say the Gladiators. So as we look at through some more of these two doors, that's kind of what we're seeing here. And with the Wrangler, I would kind of suspect that they're not giving as crazy as discounts just because the Wrangler has held so much of a resale value over the years that they want to make sure they don't completely obliterate that. The problem with that is I still think that they're just going to be sitting there. The 24s are there, the 25s are there, and it's just not that advantageous to really pick one of those up. And then the problem is, too, that Ryan and I really look at, and if you guys are Jeep owners currently, is how bad this is going to hurt the resale value and the used market of these Jeeps. But I think really what we're focused on now is that Gladiator Rubicon or the Gladiator in any trim. Is that enough of a discount? And also, what does that mean for the future of Jeep? Will these discounts continue? Are these enough to make you jump in and pick one of these up? Or we have to see some more of a discount in the terms of maybe some finance deals, 0% for 72 months, something like that, plus a discount? That might have a lot of people looking into it. One thing I will say for certain is that I've been monitoring Facebook and Instagram pretty closely. A lot more people are picking up these Gladiators at this discount. I've seen it on the Chesapeake Jeep Club, some private Jeep clubs that I'm following on Facebook, is that people are saying this deal is too good to pass up and I need to go pick one up. So maybe that might start to happen, and Jeep might make a little bit of a turnaround here by just liquidating these Gladiators and kind of starting over from scratch. Well, Well guys, I will say that this is probably some good Jeep news for those that are in the market to pick up a Gladiator, and honestly it has us starting to think, do we pick one of those up and build it onto the channel after our 41 two-door is finished up? If you guys haven't checked out that build, be sure to jump over and see all the cool things that we've been adding onto this Jeep. We hope that these discounts kind of continue, and it's almost a double-edged sword for us as Jeep owners, because as discounts continue, resale value and the trade-in values also decrease pretty significantly when you can pick one up new for cheaper than you can get one used. So it's almost a double-edged sword for us as Jeep owners. But heck, is this enough to make you jump on board for a Gladiator, or does it have you reconsidering a Wrangler for a Gladiator just about how many features you can pick up for similar pricing plus a truck bed on the back and the ability to take the top and doors off? So let us know down below in the comments. We would love to chat with you guys. We're gonna be trying to get out Jeep news just as fast as it is being released. And the more you guys hear, if you hear something in rumor, you hear something on the forums, send us a message on Instagram, because we do look at those, chat with people, and really read those and incorporate them into our news here. Now, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you don't mind, make sure to drop a comment below, and if you're not already subscribed, maybe lock onto this channel for all of your Jeep news and your cool Jeep builds. Till next time though, my name is Matt, Ryan's behind the camera. We want you to get out there and earn yours.